momentous occasion of celebrating 100 years for our very own University of Colombo. Why not share some of its humble beginnings as we embark on this precious occasion, this precious ceremonial event? Now, Budita, let's start with its history, or rather, share what actually University of Colombo is meant for. Now, University of Colombo is recognized as as having a pioneering role in fostering basic sciences and liberal arts and medical education to Sri Lankan students. So, up to this moment, it has produced immense special students to this nation. Udita?
Yes, indeed, Ramalka. I must add that the proceedings of today have already commenced at the picturesque College House. The flag hoisting ceremony has already begun, and our Madam Vice Chancellor and all the dignitaries are at the College House. At that ceremony, we have a team there bringing to you live images from that event. But we are at the front of the newly to be opened Information and Learning Center of the Faculty of Science. Right now, of course, proceedings are underway, so we have a lot of interruptions. There's a lot of hub going around in our background. We must accommodate for all of that. However, getting back to the point, it has been 100 years since this institute has begun. Now, being people who are active on social media, we saw so many posts with so many ideas regarding this celebration. Are we actually celebrating the 100th anniversary of the University of Colombo? Or are we celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Faculty of Science? Going through the literature, it turns out that we are celebrating the 100th anniversary of science education in this wonderful institute. However, it should be noted that this was not termed as the University of Colombo until much later. This institution began on January 21st, 1921, 100 years ago to the date. But it was not called the University of Colombo back then. It was called the Ceylon University College. And it comprised of two departments called the Department of Arts and the Department of Science. And these departments actually had only one professor each for each subject. One professor for physics, one professor for chemistry, so on and so forth. This was the humble beginning of what came to be known as the Faculty of Science. Later on, in 1942, this wonderful institution, which had undergone a few name changes, merged with the Faculty of Medicine, which had begun 50 years or so earlier, to form what we formally know now as the University of Colombo. So actually we are celebrating a kind of a strange milestone, right? We are celebrating 100 years for the Faculty of Science, but the actual University of Colombo is not yet 100 years old. The institution that preluded to the university is well over 100 years, but the actual university itself is not 100 years. That's a bit of a myth buster for those of you who are active on social media. Right, moving on. We have a wonderful agenda for today, right? Shall we just run through and see what we have in store for you all?
Yes, Udita. Now, for those who were active on social media, as Udita said, now the little questions you already had in the morning or even before that, I hope they were clarified by now. So, going through our agenda today, we have the launching of UCSC E-Museum and the tree planting program, and also the opening of ILC building. Then the celebrations will go on in this building the Information and Learning Center of Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. Then also, along with those celebrations there, we would have the celebrations at Faculty of Arts as well. So all these will be brought to you live from FOSS Media. Then the centennial celebrations and the inauguration ceremony will again have at 1 p.m. at College House. And the keynote address will be given by H.E. Mrs. Hannah Singer, UN Resident Coordinator Sri Lanka, and also an address by the Minister of Education, Professor G.L. Piris, the Honorable Prime Minister, His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa, and the President, His Excellency, President of Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, will also address this ceremonial centennial celebration of University of Colombo. And the agenda will go on until we commence the proceedings of the Annual Research Symposium 2020. Udita?
Yes, indeed, Ramalka. Thank you for handling the agenda alone while I went and got a walkie-talkie for myself. So, because as you probably well heard, we have a long agenda today. And there are so many moving parts to this live broadcast. There's a lot of things going on. We actually interrupted by the catering truck because, right. So we need to have a strong communication bond to have this event going on and going forth. I believe what we have next is the tree planting ceremony. If we can get to the visuals of that as soon as possible. But before that, I think we have the UCSC event at the UCSC. So I believe that's what's going on at the moment. So after that, that will be followed by the tree planting. So to carry on with our conversation, the Faculty of Science has spent 100 years nurturing the best talent that is to be found in this country. So throughout these years, this institution has grown and grown to a level that cannot be summarized in a few hours. We could go on for days and days to talk about this wonderful institution. However, we don't have that much time. So we do have a few summarized points about our faculty and the history of our faculty, which we will bring to you throughout the course of this broadcast. As we mentioned before, we have a long lineup of events to talk about. So, Ramalka, if you can start off with a bit of our history, starting on.
So, on January 21st, 1921, exactly 100 years ago, the Ceylon University College, or CUC in short, came into being, providing the first opportunity of higher education in basic sciences and humanities for our local students. Now, in 1942, the envisaged University of Ceylon eventually established as a fully fledged university in the scenic location at Peradeniya. Now, during the late 1950s and in the mid-1970s, the university system not only expanded, but its structure of administration was also transformed. So, with that historic start, the university came this far. And today, we are embarking on its centennial celebration. So, it's a humble beginning, and there's a long way to go. Today is just a milestone that we can look back and think what we have done and how it has come this far, and what were the mistakes that were there, and how we are going to improve and take this prestigious institute to way forward to many, many more years to come, bringing out wonderful individuals to this nation and to the whole world.
Yes, indeed. That was a wonderful anecdote about our beginnings and how we've gone about our things. Of course, we might as well bring to you this information that FOSS Media will be broadcasting FOSS TV starting tonight for a total of a couple of days. We have some amazing programs lined up for you to celebrate this 100th anniversary. So, among those programs, I might add that we have an interview with our Vice Chancellor. We have programs about all the fun that we've had before this pandemic struck, all the events that we've conducted, all the fun that we've had, the clubs and societies that make up this university, then all the sports that our future prospective students can come across. There are so many events lined up, so many programs lined up for you starting at 8 p.m. tonight. But we have a long time to go until that. We have so much more content to bring before that, because we are at the opening ceremony of this Interactive Learning Center, along with all these other 100th anniversary celebrations that are going on today. So, there is a small message to the public that we might have to bring to you, because there is a pandemic outside and there's a pandemic inside too. This is a really testing time for us as students, and to hold an event of this magnitude in these trying circumstances shows the courage that the university has to make sure that life goes on no matter what. To all those of our friends and our beloved members of staff, there are a few people who we know are infected with the novel coronavirus. It's not novel anymore, COVID-19. We wish all of them a speedy recovery as we go on with today's proceedings. We wish they could be here with us, but as circumstances dictate, we have to limit the number of participants in accordance with the corona protocols. Hence, to all of you watching live from the comforts of your home via Facebook Live, welcome if you are just tuning in. Like we said before, we have a long lineup of things. The flag hoisting ceremony took place. I believe the agenda item that's going on right now is happening at the University of Colombo School of Computing. And of course, we have a tree planting ceremony up in a few minutes afterwards. And after that tree planting ceremony, we will be coming to this location where we have the opening of this Interactive Learning Center. So Ramalka, shall we just continue with a bit more of our history and what message that we can give to those of our audience listening at home who would have loved to be in this situation, who would have loved to come here to be with us today in this wonderful event?
Well, before that, Udita, I would like to add something to what you said now, as even I ran through a long agenda. So, along with this momentous occasion of embarking on 100 years, now, what are the new additions to our university? Now, there's an e-museum which will be launched in few minutes time, and also the Information and Learning Center that you can see behind us is also another addition to our university system for celebrating this 100 years of us. And also, many more things are lined up. And Udita gave you a clue. What is it? Yes, you know it. FOSS TV. A wonderful initiative by FOSS Media, the official media unit of Faculty of Science of University of Colombo. For the past few days, Our FOSS Media members worked really hard to pull out this wonderful initiative and to make this great achievement a success. It's also a part of this celebration as we are embarking on our 100th anniversary. Udita?
Yes, indeed. We've been talking for quite a long time, and I'm pretty sure y'all are tired of hearing to our voices. We are going to take a short break from here, but you are not going to get a break because Dr. Iroja Caldera and Dr. Inoka Pereira are upstairs waiting for you. See you in a few minutes' time.
ඔයගේ නම මොකක්ද?
Sajivani Somaratna, Mrs.
සජීවනි සෝමරත්න එයා කවුද?
Thank you, Udita and Ramalka. You have all seen Udita and Ramalka from the ground floor right in front of the Information and Learning Center of the Faculty of Science. And now we're joining you from the 6th floor, the auditorium, the ultra-modern auditorium that is equipped with all the facilities for a nice conference like this today. So we are actually waiting for the dignitaries to arrive in this place. This will take about an hour, I would think, for them to come here and start the proceedings of the day and open this center for the students of Faculty of Science and the university for them to have a engaging learning experience in an ultra-modern library. So the library of the University of Colombo started actually 100 years back together with the two departments. Iroja, you want to elaborate on that fact?
Yes. I think while the faculties of arts and sciences are also celebrating the 100 years, the library, thank you. So along with the faculties of arts and science, the library network is also celebrating its centenary. So I think it's really fitting that this facility is going to be available for the students of the faculty. I think out of these 100 years, Inoka and myself have been at the faculty for about 20 years of it, because we were, yes, so because we were students here, and we really see the huge difference. And I think the students are really blessed to have a facility like this, an ultra-modern facility coming to you to really enhance your learning experience. I think when we were students, a library was just a place with maybe a lot of bookshelves, books, and journals. But I think libraries now have really evolved, and what you will see here once you come back to the faculty is something really amazing.
Yeah, so unfortunately the students are not available today because of the pandemic situation, but as you come back to the university, we hope it will happen soon, you will have this place actually to engage in your studies. And I have seen a few Facebook posts done by students where they have said, we have not been to the library for years, but we would actually love to go there once it's open, once they come back. So we think it is ready for you to join in. And if you can explain a few of these learner spaces that are there in this library, because this is truly a new concept. Because this would be actually the first library in the country which would have this kind of new technologies and facilities for the learners to engage in their studies. So coming from the downstairs, you will see that the first 3 floors would have the traditional library setting, where the books are there for lending and to read. And then as you progress, the next couple of floors are the actual, the difference that you see in the library complex.
So I think all of you will agree with me. When you're learning, it's actually very nice to have some type of collaboration. Now, generally, when we think about the library, it's a place where you're really quiet and you're not supposed to talk. But in this modern concept of a library, the difference you will see is that on some floors, in some rooms, you're actually encouraged to speak within the library, where you will have spaces where you can have little study groups, and also you have the certain facilities like the internet or any other type of, for collaborative learning. Very often you do need other kind of resources. So other than just the traditional books, we have these other facilities available for you, and you're encouraged to, talk to each other and work together. And I think that is really the essence of modern libraries. And we are really happy to say that the University of Colombo Faculty of Science has a facility like that.
Thinking about 20 years back when we entered the University of Colombo, that sounds like a long time back. Yeah, 1/5 of the 100 years we are celebrating today. So we are celebrating 20 years of being here at the Colombo University. And if you think about the days that we used the library, it was full of books where the students were asked not to talk at all. They were seated studying, and then there was a section, we used to call it Apaya, right? All our colleagues would remember this section of the library where we were allowed to talk a little bit, not much. And then actually what my experience was, I was never a learner like that who would actually sit in one place and study. So I always wanted a collaborative environment. So the collaborative environment was found in the open canteen out there, or else in the quadrangle, or in the corridors of the arts faculty, or in the summer huts on the other side. So those were the collaborative spaces that we found. Of course, those days we didn't have Wi-Fi or computer facilities, which we never needed for our studies. We had our notes, the discussions that we had, and the arguments. So those were the learning experiences we had. So this kind of learning environment is actually very beneficial for students, because university is a place where new ideas are generated, and ideas are never generated alone. They are always collaborative. So we will move back to Ramalka and Udit and to brief on the proceedings of the day.
Joining you live back from the Faculty of Science premises. So I'm standing in front of the Information and Learning Center of Faculty of Science of University of Colombo. So as the proceedings go on, I am with one of the wonderful personalities, a proud product of our very own faculty. She is none other than the Senior Assistant Librarian of Faculty of Science, Mrs. Sajivani Somaratna. A very good morning to you, madam, and welcome. So, I have few questions for you, madam. So, now, as we embark on this centennial celebration of our faculty and university, so we have come up with a new concept. Now, we already had a library in Faculty of Science, but today we are coming up with a new concept as the Information and Learning Center. Madam, I would like you to invite to share some of the thoughts about this new concept that is brought in to our faculty.
Yes, Ramalka. Then actually the library that we know from our childhood, then we think library as some kind of storing space, or we are stacking books in the library. But now we are in the new millennium, and the technology has changed, and you also have changed. That means that who are the students or who are the users of the library, they have changed massively. Then we thought go for a new concept. Then this is not a traditional library. Then we are going to open this today as an information learning center. And there, what's the difference between the traditional library and this information learning center? You can find when you enter the library, this is a new information learning center. Not only stacking books there, you can find different learning spaces. Because now you as new millennials, you are learning in different ways, right? Then rather than self-studying, you like to do collaborative studies, right? Then you like to do interactive studies. Then there are different learning spaces we have accommodated already in this new building. Likewise, you can find different spaces, open study zone and reading zones and collaborative zone, self-study zone and interactive zone. Likewise, there are different learning zones. Not only that, there are a lot of advantages or advances of technology also there, right? You can find smart classrooms with e-boards and smart boards, and not only that, you can find e-resource centers with equipped computers and other new technological things. Then that's the difference of this new building, new information learning center, and our traditional library. Then when you visit the library, our new building, you can see everything today in our new learning center.
Of course. So also one of our FOSS Media members will share or take you a virtual ride. Our own members, Devmini Jayalat, will take you a virtual ride inside this new information and learning center. As Madam shared, many new concepts are being involved here, and so new concepts, new additions are traditional library. Also, madam, so as we embark on this 100th celebration, how do you feel as a proud product of our very own faculty?
Then actually I entered the university in 1996. Then now I'm passing my 25th year in the university. What's the difference when I entered in the university? It was it was a traditional university, that means with traditional libraries and everything, but there are very little advancement of technology. But after 20 years, I can see a huge difference, right? Not only once we in 1996, once we were here as first years, then we were traditional university students, right? But now who are the students now using this university? They are totally different from us, right? Then I think we have to change, and we have to provide and we have to facilitate all the resources according to their requirements. That's why we have planned a lot, and we have initiated this new building with these new concepts. Okay, right. Thank you.
Senior Assistant Librarian, Mrs. Sajivani Soma, sharing her thoughts based on her past experience as a student here, and also about our newly launched Information and Learning Center of Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. Thank you, madam, for joining with us.
Thank you, Ramalka.
Okay, so as you know, as we mentioned to you earlier, we have lot of things lined up for the day. And stay tuned with us for more of those things as the agenda goes on, as we embark on this centennial celebration of Faculty of Science.
Welcome back. I have with me one of the most notable and famous figures that we have in our faculty at the moment. He's the head of the Department of Chemistry. He is a senior professor. We have Senior Professor K.M. Nalin De Silva with us here. Sir, in this momentous occasion where we're celebrating the 100th anniversary of science in the University of Colombo, what are your thoughts about today's event?
I think it is an extremely important event, and we started science in 1921. Only three subjects: chemistry, physics, and biology, mainly to educate the medical students. At that time, University College, affiliated to University of London, and it evolved in various phases, turbulent periods, and so on. And we have now completed the 100 years, and the subjects started as just subjects and moved into various departments. And also in 1960s we introduced the computer technology and statistics as subjects, and it evolved in a place where we have 7 departments, and also the part of the science faculty and the computer section moved to University of Colombo School of Computing as a different entity. So it has evolved to a greater height in this 100 years, and we are very happy to be part of this 100 years celebrations. Yeah.
Wonderful, sir. So, one of our key items on the agenda to come is the opening of this wonderful information and learning center. Sir, in this digital age where everything is going on online, what can you say about the library culture and about reading culture in students of this age, in this digital age?
I mentioned that in my interview also about a few weeks back, and we are in the digital age. The lectures are conducted in Zoom technology or other platforms, and the internet is so powerful, and we have everything and fingertips information era. We are in information technology, and students technically don't need to go to a library. Everything is fingertips. But the problem is now the library is a different thing. If you look at the the richest person in the world, like the Elon Musk now, Jeff Bezos, and they are super readers. You know, they read about 10 books per week, something like that. So the problem of this, our not only our faculty, the entire nation, the people who are doing science, are lack of ideas, lack of innovative ideas. The country cannot be developed without any innovative ideas. Innovative ideas come through reading. That's the only way. Not digital reading. It's okay. But going to a library and sitting there and that atmosphere, you know, sitting in front of books, and you know that's a different. The big people in the world, like the best scientists, best philanthropists, they all have their small libraries at home. It's okay to have the digital era, but the library culture is very important. Reading culture is very important. If you don't develop the reading culture, I mean, we will not develop like, you know, the Europe. Yeah. So Europe developed the, you know, the information technology, but we are holding to a different side of it, and we are so the information learning center that we are seeing today here, and the fantastic initiative, and then you will see this wonderful library complex, and I'm very happy to be part of that, and I will also visit and spend some time in this library. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your FOS Media for allowing me to come and share some thoughts, and I wish you all the very best for your future work. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, very much. I know you have to run to the tree planting ceremony in a few minutes' time. We do have a few minutes before that happens. So until we have images from the tree planting ceremony, which will happen in about 8 minutes' time, let's throw the controls back upstairs to Dr. Inoka and Dr. Iroja Caldera. Challenger din ng puri kala photos දානවා වගේ.
ඒ කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ පැලයක් හිටවල ෆොටෝ එකක් කරන් දාන්නද?
ෆොටෝ එකක් දාලා නම් ටිකක්
These structures coming up in the faculty premises, once green faculty landscape has changed into concrete structures. So bringing it back into the natural environment that we saw 20 years back when we entered the university, there are trees being planted around the campus because some of these trees are almost the age of our faculty, so they're dying. There is a hazard, so some of these trees were removed. You might have seen some of these Facebook posts on against removing some of these plants. So that was actually necessary because of the hazard they were causing. So we wanted to start a campaign to see a greener tomorrow. So there was a Facebook challenge launched by the BOTSOC to plant trees around the country starting from today. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yes, thank you, Inoka. So I think all of you would have seen on social media about the Facebook challenge that we are starting today. It's actually going to start in a few minutes, and I really hope most of you will join us in this. So to celebrate the centenary of the Faculty of Science, we will be starting that on the grounds. I think it's in front of the Maths building, one of the most iconic buildings of the University of Colombo. So it's a really suitable place to start this endeavor. So we would have the Madam Vice Chancellor and several other dignitaries starting off, and we really hope that you will also join in this. So all you need to do is to plant a tree, take a photograph, and then put it up on your Facebook page, and you can then challenge 5 friends. So it would be really great if this can go on, where we will get quite a large number of trees being planted to celebrate this special day. And you will also be doing something to make a greener country for all of us.
So starting from today, you will be challenging your friends to plant a tree. They'll be challenging another 5 of their friends, tagging them to plant a tree wherever the space is available. Yes. And then it will go viral, I would think.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, so we would see a lot of plants planting around the country because all of you are now at home, studying from home.
So no excuses?
No excuses. If it is not in your land, it can be on the roadside, it doesn't matter. So we just want to see you all engaging in this, planting a tree for a greener tomorrow. So these buildings coming up in the premises, we would like to see the green spaces protected in the environment. This is very important. This is very important because we have seen the country, a greener country 20 years back, 40 years back, 100 years back, but the greener spaces are diminishing in these urban landscapes. So whenever we can, it is good practice to protect them and to enhance them. Let's move to the tree planting ceremony, which is happening in front of the Maths building. Over to you, Udita.
you are now viewing the live images of the tree planting ceremony. Of course, our Vice Chancellor is just planting a tree in front of the Department of Mathematics. You are seeing the live view from that event that is happening. Of course, all the dignitaries are present there. I'm pretty sure that Dr. Inoka and Dr. Iroja briefed you about the challenge that is happening. At the planting ceremony. Yes, so why don't we just enjoy the view of what's going on in front of the maths department of the University of Colombo at this moment. As you see now, as you can see, there are so many invited guests who are present here, involved in this tree planting ceremony. Members of the Botanical Society also, I believe, who are the organizers here. As you see, Vice Chancellor completing the process over there to making sure that the tree sapling is firmly planted, and that so that we can see many have a wonderful shade for the students to carry out their studies and to have a wonderful scenic image there. As we see, our Madam Vice Chancellor watering the plant that was just planted. In the background, we can see the head of the Department of Physics and a few other dignitaries also present. There are so many members of our, the deans and the heads of the departments who are present at this event. Yes, so this concludes the tree planting ceremony. And yes, so the control goes back to Dr. Inoka and Dr. Iroja upstairs. Before that, of course, we have a few more trees to be planted, apparently. Of course, we are bringing to you this live from a remote location. So connectivity is a bit of a question. However, we are trying our best to bring to you the best images possible. As we see, there are as we see our former Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor Lakshman Disanayaka, who's the next in line to plant a tree in this tree planting ceremony. Of course, this is a wonderful initiative to, improve the green image of the university. Of course, there are when a tree gets cut down, there are so many people to talk about it and to cry and weep about the loss of a tree. Today, we are witnessing trees being planted in place of those that were cut down. Trees to bring shade for many more years to come to the University of Colombo, to the Faculty of Science. We hope this initiative will improve the image and the beauty of the iconic University Tower. As you can see, the trees are being planted in front of the University Tower. The ceremony is still going on. Obviously, there are many plants to be planted over there. Yes. So let's just enjoy the view of these trees being planted. We will get back to you shortly with more content as soon as possible.
The opening ceremony of the Information Center of Faculty of Science of University of Colombo will take place in a little while. Our Madam Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor Chandrikain Vijayaratna, along with all the department heads and guests, dignitaries, are waiting for that auspicious moment to open this wonderful place that will nurture many of our students in this digital age. So this Information and Learning Center will be a right place for our students to fulfill their future aspirations in this digital age. Being one of the prestigious institutes in Sri Lanka and being one of the best faculties, Faculty of Science of University of Colombo would facilitate the students with all the modern learning facilities from this newly launched center. And I believe that this center would nurture them as great leaders to take up the global challenges in this digital world, in this 21st century. So our faculty is always dedicated to bringing the best for their students, and this momentous occasion would be one such occasion that facilitates our very own students with yet another wonderful facility for their learning experiences. This center will guide them through with a wonderful, yes. We are now moving on to the opening ceremony of this center. The auspicious time is arriving in a little moment, and so the dignitaries, all the department heads, and our Madam Vice Chancellor is ready for the opening ceremony of this student center.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just witnessed opening the plaque of the Information and Communicate and Learning Center for the community of scholars right here in the Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. As you can see, there are quite a few dignitaries still in attendance, all the faculties, and having, okay, as you can see, the image coming from the saying this commemorates the opening.
Now we are bringing to you visuals from the painting about fishes study. As soon as possible. We still have quite a few minutes for that to happen.
මෙම විවෘත කිරීමේ උළෙල ආරම්භ කරන්නට මත්තෙන් කිරිතිරවීමේ චාරිත්‍රය සඳහායි අපි මේ යොමු වෙලා සිටින්නේ. ඉතින් සෑම කටයුත්තකදීම සෞභාග්‍ය සංකේතයක් වශයෙන් කිරිතිරීමේ චාරිත්‍රය අපි සිදු කරනු ලබනවා. ඉතින් අපේ මේ 100 වෙනි සැමරුම් උළට සමගාමීව මේ නව ගොඩනැගිල්ල විවෘත කිරීමේදී උළෙලේදීත් අපි ඒ කාර්යයම ඉටු කරමින් අපේ සියලු කටයුතු සාර්ථක වන්නට ඒ ප්‍රාර්ථනයත් එක්කන්නට අපි අමතක කළේ නෑ. ඔබට දැක ගන්නට පුළුවන් නැවුම් මුට්ටියේ නැවුම් කිරි ඉතිරීමට බොහෝම ආසන්නයි. එය නිසකවම සංකේතවත් කරන්නේ අපේ සියලු කටයුතු වල සෞභාග්‍ය මනෝඅනුමානයි. සම්භාවනීය අමුත්තන් ඇතුළු සියලුම පිරිස් දැස් දල්වා බලා සිටින්නේ කිරිමුට්ටිය දෙසයි. අපගේ සියලු කටයුතු සාර්ථක වන්නට ඔවුන්ගේද ප්‍රාර්ථනය සහ සුභාශිංසන එක් කරමින් මේ කටයුතු සමගයි ඔවුන් සම්බන්ධ වී සිටින්නේ.
Oh, mari. WhatsApp challenge එක. ළමයි ඉන්න හින්දා we are friends now. ඉස්සර යාට නෙමෙයි යාගේ ෆාදර්ට වෙන්නේ. Welcome to the ceremonial opening of the Information Center. Start the day's proceedings. We now start the day's proceedings upholding our traditions. We now have the honor of inviting the dignitaries to the Secretary to the Treasury and Ministry of Finance. This is our article.
Ceremony. Do still have a few minutes more to go. As you can see, the Vice Chancellor and the Dean of the faculty, Deans of the other faculties, all our invited guests, the Senior Assistant Librarian, heads of the departments, they are all gathered here. This auspicious time is due to be at 9:30 a.m. So we still do have a few minutes more. And like we've been talking for all this duration about the history of the University of Colombo, about the 100 years, it's worth noting that way back in 1923, the original library of this faculty started with the donation of books from the Honorable Ponnambalam Arunachalam, who donated his late son's collection of books to the university. That was the humble beginning of what has progressed today, now to be an initiative that has come to be known as the Information and Learning Center of the Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. Like in the background, we have for the auspicious time. I know. Like we said before, there is an interactive live done by Force Media's own Devini Jayalat, which is coming to you soon. Hence, we are still trying to keep you from showing the internal appearance of this beautiful library. We have less than 2 minutes to go to the cutting of the ribbon. All the dignitaries are prepared and ready for this occasion. We are bringing to you this live coverage from the Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. Amidst this coronavirus pandemic, these are trying times for everyone, but to see such an event happening with a limited number of participants, adhering to all the health protocols of the country, to make sure that this is a safe environment for all of us as we near this momentous occasion. I don't want to give you too many spoilers about the internal workings of the of this library, as we have a video prepared for that. As now you can see, our dignitaries are preparing for this momentous occasion. They have less than a minute to go to the auspicious time. All the video cameras are lined up, ready and waiting. And yes, as you can hear the collective groan from the audience, as we have less than 1 minute to go. They're preparing to open, waiting for the signal to go, for the auspicious time to cut open the ribbon which opens this information and learning center of the Faculty of Science. We still have a few moments to go. And yes, with that, ladies and gentlemen, the Information and Learning Center of the Faculty of Science has been declared open. As now the dignitaries are slowly moving in to the library. They're taking a short tour of the insides. Like as
Because I think I have to talk to them if one of them are here.
But then they hear, no? But
I don't know. I can. They want.
okay, now they listening. I know.
If you can identify the day,
Video also.
නම් ටික කිව්වට පස්සේ පහන පත්තු කරන පහන පත්තු කරන්න පටන් ගත්තා. Someone is inside, it's not nice.
do you know අපි ඔන්න මෙතනින්
Librarian, you can tell as the name goes. Yeah, you can ask her to actually come and join. She's the only one as I can see.
මේ බලන්නකො සර් හිරු ටීවී සන් ටීවී අර ටීවී මේ ටීවී ඔක්කොම එනවනේ.
That's it. Then you can go.
සර් ෆුල් මේ ටීවී ජාති හැමෝම ඇවිල්ලා.
Hey, mind the house and he's not coming.
ඒකනේ. නැත්තම් තව ටිකක් ලෑස්ති
ඒ
වෙන්න.
අපි අර ඉවෙන්ට් එකකට කවුද එනවා කියලා ගාලා මීඩියා. ඊට පස්සේ නෑ ඔක්කොම ටික ගලවගෙන ගියා.
අයෝ that's so bad. Hello. Why is it? එහෙම agenda එකක් නැහැ. Switch it on. So let's start. Good morning. Welcome to the ceremonial opening of the Information and Learning Center of the Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. To start the day's proceedings, upholding our traditions, may I now have the honor of inviting the following dignitaries to light the oil lamp. Our chief guest, Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Senior Professor Chandrika Wijeratna. Our guest of honor, the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Professor Emeritus Lakshman Disanayaka. Rector, Sri Pali Campus, Professor Ranjan Hettiarachchi. Director of the University of Colombo School of Computing, representing all directors, Professor K.P. Hewagamage. Dean, Faculty of Science, Senior Professor Upul Sonnadara. Dean, Faculty of Arts, representing all deans, Professor Lasantha Manawadu. Registrar of the University of Colombo, Mr. K.A.S. Edward. Librarian of the University of Colombo, Dr. Pradeepa Vijaytunga. Bursa, University of Colombo, Mrs. K.S.T.S. Jayasurya. Managing Director of Sunken Constructions Private Limited, Mr. Ranjit Gunathilaka. Chairperson, Library Committee, Faculty of Science, Dr. Pradeepika Saputantri. Senior Assistant Librarian of the Faculty of Science, Mrs. Sajivani Somaratna. Chairperson, Library Committee, Faculty of Science, Dr. Pradeepika Saputantri. Deputy Registrar, Capital Works, Mr. R. Logendra. Project Manager, Mr. A.C.M. Azza. Works Engineer, Mr. Rahal Aberatna. Senior Assistant Registrar, Faculty of Science, Ms. Tarushika Patirage. And last but not least, our student representatives. Please rise for the national anthem. Chief guest, Senior Professor Chandrika Vijayaratna, Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo. Our guest of honor, Professor Emeritus Lakshman Dissanayake, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Albert Einstein once said, the only thing that you absolutely have to know is the location of the library. With that quote in mind, on behalf of the Faculty of Science, University of Colombo, I warmly welcome all of you to the opening of the Information and Learning Center, or the newly built library building. Inaugurated as a Ceylon University College, the University of Colombo proudly upholds its legacy of pioneering in higher education sector in Sri Lanka. Fostering science and mathematics education in Sri Lanka, Faculty of Science has set high standards in education in the country while producing citizens who actively contribute to the development. This day is extremely special day for the Faculty of Science, as the faculty proudly celebrates 100 years of nourishing the intellect of science. Thus, it is fitting to select today to declare open our well-equipped Information and Learning Center for the future generations of scientists. A history of libraries in the world goes back to the ancient Roman civilization. A library used to be considered a place with a collection of books and scripts. Libraries in the world, like everything else,
have evolved catering to the wants and needs of the society. With the digital revolution, the academic libraries should be well equipped with novel ways of information delivery, dissemination along with information resources and services to face the future. The library of Ceylon University College was initiated 100 years ago in 1921 as a small collection of documents maintained at the college house to serve the then two departments, science and arts. And today, after 100 years, going far beyond the concepts of a traditional library, the Faculty of Science is blessed with a futuristic, ultra-modern academic library to be used by the present and future generations of scholars. Let's take a tour around our brand new Information and Learning Center.
After 100 years of nourishing the intellect of science, the revolutionary construction of the Information and Learning Center leaps over boundaries of traditional library concepts and pioneers in the futuristic, ultra-modern library provided for the community of scholars at the Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. The libraries that we are familiar with are mainly defined by transactional services, simply lending and returning books. But as the dynamics of the library systems has changed, the modern libraries are shifting more towards a relational side, creating more value to its users. Let me give you a short tour around our mind-blowing construction. The main building consists of 6 floors. Is more like the principal floor of the complex, which includes the circulation desk, reference section, reading area, staff reading zone, leisure reading corner, and the thesis collection library office, as well as the library service center. The Learning Center here promotes the self-service concept, allowing you to do your work independently with the Learning Center. Advancing from the former library system, the Learning Center is also equipped with an RFID security system which improves the flexibility within the complex. Moreover, the self-check machine also allows the users to manage their books by themselves. The third floor is more like a collaborative study zone, which provides the perfect platform for projects, group discussions, workshops, and other learner-based activities. A library skill lab is also incorporated in this floor, which supports user-preferred arrangements and is equipped with e-boards and other technological equipment to provide a comfortable learning space. Moreover, the floor also has a library studio which is equipped with LED screens, video conferencing facilities, lecture recording facilities, and many more to support the efficient learning system. The fourth floor is an interactive study zone, which includes a e-resource center alongside a self-study carrel. The e-resource center consists of computers, projectors, and e-boards. The ground floor provides an open study area for the users with a seating capacity of around 80 and a photocopy center. The newest addition to the library system is the exclusive coffee shop, so you've got the perks of relaxing and enjoy a warm cup of coffee as you work in the study area. The fifth floor is an adjustable space, which is more precisely a multi-purpose floor with 300 seating capacity. Finally, the sixth floor is the auditorium with 275 seating capacity and all the modern equipment for an immersive multimedia experience. Apart from the aforementioned, the Learning Center contains a free 24-hour Wi-Fi connection, laptop charging facilities, and many more to promote a pleasant and relaxed learning experience. With all these transformations, the students have been given an amazing opportunity to experience the modern academic systems in their learning period at the Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. Thank you for joining us on the tour.
Now, I would like to cordially invite the following dignitaries to take their seats at the head table. Chief Guest, Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Senior Professor Chandrika Wijeratne. Guest of Honor, Professor Emeritus Lakshman Disanayake. Dean, Faculty of Science, Senior Professor Upul Sonnadara. Former Dean, Faculty of Science, Professor Ranjit Mahanama. Chairperson, Library Committee, Faculty of Science, Dr. Pradeepika Saputantri. Senior Assistant Librarian of the Faculty of Science, Mrs. Sajivani Somaratne. To deliver the official welcome address, I would like to cordially invite Senior Professor Upul Sonnadara, the Dean of the Faculty of Science.
Thank you, Tilini. Good morning, and it's a very special day for us. You know that we are celebrating the 100 years of arts, sciences, and the establishment of the library. So, Professor Chandrika Wijeratne, Vice Chancellor, University of Colombo. Professor Lakshman Disanayake, former Vice Chancellor, University of Colombo. Dr. Pradeepika Saputantri, Chairperson, Faculty Library Committee. Ms. Sajivani Somaratne, Science Librarian, Faculty of Science. Distinguished invitees, deans and directors of faculties and institutions, academic and administrative staff of the University of Colombo, and my dear students. Good morning. It's my great pleasure and honor to welcome you to the Faculty of Science to witness the grand opening of the Information and Learning Center of the Faculty of Science. This event is actually a part of series of events organized to celebrate the 100-year anniversary of Arts and Sciences at the University of Colombo. The Information and Library Center has been much awaited infrastructure upgrade at the Faculty of Science, and my sincere appreciation goes to all those who have contributed in numerous ways to realize it. The efforts of former Dean Science, Professor Ranjit Mahanama, the librarian, Mrs. Sajivani Somaratne, and former Deputy Registrar, Mrs. Bajira Hapuina Jayaratne, should be specially noted, and especially they got involved in the stage, from the stage conceptualizing even the design of the library. It was during the tenure of Professor Lakshman Disanayake as the Vice Chancellor that the foundation stone to this building was laid. The unwavering support of the current Vice Chancellor, Professor Chandrika Wijeratne, the Registrar, Mr. Edward, and the Bursar, Mrs. Jayasuriya. and especially the service of the project supervisor, Mr. Azhar, is deeply appreciated. Let me also extend my sincere gratitude to the library committee headed by Dr. Saputantri, its members and the senior assistant registrar, Mrs. Pathiranage, for organizing today's event. I also thank the Sunken team headed by Mr. Ratnayaka for their commitment and the dedication for getting this done. The Information and Library Center carries the modern concept of a library, moving from a transactional to a relational library. The main reference area, student collaborative spaces, auditorium, computer lounge, and the high-performance computing center provide much-needed ambience for our students to engage in activities, active learning. The Information and Learning Center, thus a hub to promote student skills related to communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. All those considered essential in the modern workplace today. Our students come from diverse backgrounds and also diverse socio-economic backgrounds. And you can rest assured that the Information and Learning Center will be a great resource for them to realize their fullest potential. Let me conclude my short welcome address with the following quote from David Lankers. Bad libraries build collections. Good libraries build services. Great libraries build communities. So I hope the Learning Center will build communities. And my final wish is that the communities that will be built with the Information and Learning Center will be able to serve the interest of our people and the nation. Thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you.
A task of this magnitude would only be possible with the passion and untiring efforts of true leaders. Without the focus, drive, and the futuristic thinking of such leaders, the construction of the library building would be anything but a dream. I take this opportunity to cordially invite one such leader, our guest of honor, Professor Emeritus Lakshman Dissanayake, the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, to address the gathering.
Thank you. Very good morning to all of you. Professor Chandrika Wijayaratne, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Dean, Faculty of Science, Professor Upul Swarnadhara, former Dean of the Faculty of Science, Professor Ranjit Mahanama, and all the other deans who are here today, and the directors of institutes, Registrar Berza, the librarian, and all the colleagues who are gathered here to mark this occasion, and media friends, colleagues and friends. I'm very much thankful to the Dean of the Faculty of Science, Professor Upul Swarnadhara, for inviting me to grace this occasion as the guest of honor for this centenary celebration of the Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. The Faculty of Science, the Arts, and also the library, in fact, celebrating the 100 years of excellence in university education here today. In fact, I spent 47 years of this 100 years from 1973 to 2020 until I retire. I had so many wonderful memories to take home. I also have contributed to this great university the maximum possible way that I can do without expecting a single return. You all are the judges to give verdict on that. In fact, Colombo University is my life. That is how I feel for the university. Why are we so proud about our university? Because we have never compromised quality for other things at any moment. We have to continue that principle as well as that great tradition. Quality of university education depends on the research, especially the research done at graduate level with the generation of new knowledge. That is why we are here today, even opening of this information and learning center to generate new knowledge. So we need to promote research at postgraduate level, as I have tried my best during my tenure as the Vice Chancellor. I know Professor Wijeyaratne also does the best in this regard. Once you start research at very young days in your career, like what I have done, you will never stop doing research, which I still do even after my retirement. It is also enjoyable and make you feel so happy with your new research findings. We should understand that robust higher education has been recognized as an engine of growth in today's knowledge-intensive economies around the world, as the success of these economies so much depend on the complex skills, agility, and creativity of the population, as well as the society's capacity for innovation. So the University of Colombo, as the premier university in this country, has the duty to nurture globally competitive students equipped with the capacity to cope with the challenges of a much more dynamic future. Globalization has also provided impetus for the growth of these institutions, as the options and opportunities are no longer constrained by geographical boundaries. This trend opens up substantial space for further development of the University of Colombo. Our alma mater has done extremely well during the last 100 years to continue to be the premier institute of higher learning and showcase excellence in all aspects of higher education, which is very much endorsed by its noble alumni who have contributed tremendously to enrich humanity over the years through various disciplines and social interactions that they were exposed to during their life in this university. We have come a long way from 1921 to 2021. Demographically, you all know that I am a demographer. Demographically, the life expectancy of men and women in the 1920s, early 20s, were 32.7 and 30.7 years. In 2012, that was the latest life table that we have calculated on the basis of the census of population. There were 72 for men and 78.6 for women. Now we have begun to see more population was about 4.5 million in 1921, and now it is around 21 million. With all these changes, now we have begun to see more and more centenarians. Now we are celebrating centenary here, centenarians and super centenarians surviving. What does that mean? You work for about 30 to 35 years in your job and then retire at the age of 60 or 65, like what I have done. But you still have about 35 to 40 years to live, right? What are you going to do during these 40 years? Just think. This is where we have to innovate. The university must accommodate lifelong learning concepts, especially with its cyber campus, where education will not be confined to any age or gender. As I was always telling you, the blended learning and teaching modes will be the future for many activities that the future universities will perform. I imagined this even in the mid-2000s, when I was the dean at the FGS, to conceptualize mobile learning and made it a reality in this country some years back. We need to work on new innovative teaching and learning modes. One of the biggest challenges that Sri Lankan university is facing with at the moment is the assessment system, although it is not an issue with most of the well-reputed universities around the world. I was telling my colleagues that we still have an 18th century assessment scheme. So we need to innovate and adjust to 21st century examination modes. For example, if you browse through the internet, you will find the Harvard courses turn to monitored exams, open book assessments, and faith in students as classes move online because of the COVID-19. It is time for us also to innovate. With the COVID-19 pandemic, we are in the new normal now. We cannot stay like this forever. We need to jump into the new future from this stage. Universities should innovate how we could move from new normal to new future, rather than waiting someone else instructing us to do various things. The unique characteristic of higher education elsewhere is the strong bond between the university and society. We need to think whether we have established a social contract between the university and the society it serves. We also need to understand that changing times demand a new social contract between the society and the institutions of higher education. Today, an array of powerful social, economic, and technological forces is driving change in the needs of society and the institutions created to respond to these needs. It is time once again to reconsider the social contract between the university and the nation, and action will probably be required to shape this relationship once again. This is very important for us to rethink and revisit on this very important day. In an increasingly knowledge-driven society, more and more people seek education as the hope for a better future, the key to good jobs and careers, and to meaningful and fulfilling lives. The knowledge created within universities also addresses many of the most urgent needs of society, including healthcare, national security, economic competitiveness, and environmental protection. Among all these things, the concept of higher education has to be always seen as a public good, and not as an individual benefit determined by values of the marketplace, but of the broader needs of a democratic society. Thank you very much. Stay safe and healthy.
Thank you very much, sir, for that inspirational speech. Professor Lakshman Dissanayake, sir, it was your untiring efforts that pushed this work forward, which made its way to what we all witness today. I wish to invite Dean of the Faculty of Science, Professor Upul Sonnadara, accompanied by Senior Assistant Librarian of the Faculty of Science, Mrs. Sajivani Somaratna, to hand over the token of appreciation to our guest of honor, Emeritus Professor Lakshman Dissanayake. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. An idea will remain an idea if you do not take actions to make it into a reality. Making an idea into reality would require leaders who envision challenges as opportunities, leaders who want to make impossibilities possible. I would now like to cordially invite a visionary with integrity and resilience, our chief guest, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Senior Professor Chandrika Wijeyaratne, to address the gathering.
Ayubowan, guest of honor, Professor Emeritus Professor Lakshman Dissanayake, incumbent Dean Professor Sonnadara and former deans, heads of departments, as well as the chairperson and the librarian of the Faculty of Science, the chairpersons of all other statutory committees, members of the academic, administrative, technological, and support staff, undergraduate and postgraduate students, respected alumni, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. We are extremely privileged to witness a singular milestone of this very special faculty, the Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. Just 36,500 days and a little over 5,200 working weeks, this faculty was established on this very day in 1921 with much expectation. We gather here today having witnessed this beautiful library building as well as those other old buildings, and despite a health risk, to commemorate this pioneering Faculty of Science for Sri Lanka and the region. This faculty has enabled generations of modern day scientists to be nurtured and engaged in high quality education, research and innovation. Let us remember with gratitude and humility our Sri Lankan visionaries whose activism and advocacy since the last quarter of the 19th century brought to fruition this great institution dedicated to the sciences. Their engagement has enabled hundreds of thousands of students and teachers to achieve their goals and be recognized the world over as decent, upright, capable, and well-rounded scientists, inventors, mentors, teachers, leaders, entrepreneurs, and above all, much respected and fulfilled professionals. In the 21st century, the University of Colombo remains the jewel in the crown of Sri Lanka's university system and is the sole metropolitan university. The Faculty of Science currently offers over 30 undergraduate honors programs and many postgraduate study courses that are much sought after. Over the past century, this faculty has demonstrated its prowess in its dedication to natural and life sciences and has blossomed into a vibrant learning environment. And I'm sure today's inauguration makes it even more vibrant. Being the most mature learning institution in science, you have encountered many challenges in terms of funding for infrastructure and to keep pace with the increasing demands. The exponential rise in technological advances had necessitated much investment for your laboratories. Despite these competing demands, your faculty has coped extremely well. I salute you for being the national champions for safeguarding the quality of science, science education, and its discourse, for upholding best practices in all your activities, underpinned by the quintessential attributes of honesty and integrity, for upscaling your multidisciplinary research agenda in the more recent past, and leading the way within our university towards a culture of innovation and commercialization. You have formed the bulk of the leadership positions in leading organizations such as SLAS and in the specialized fields of astronomy, statistics, molecular biology, material sciences, environmental sciences, immunology, nuclear sciences, and lightning conduction, to mention a few. We must not forget the pioneer school of computing being a major tributary of learning from this very faculty that has matured over the past 5 decades. Indeed, the Institute of Human Resource Advancement, IHRA, that was initiated as an institute of workers' education was conceptualized from these very halls of learning. As much as the IBMBB across the road, the UCIARS in Valigatta, the Cyber Campus, as was mentioned, and more recently, the Faculty of Technology. At the century mark, we are also planning to have a Faculty of Engineering, and I'm sure that will further enrich your learning environment. These offshoots of Mother Faculty Science paved the way for subsequent generations to secure an ethos of value-added education through time-appropriate and high-end applied research and scholarship. I'm happy to note that your more recent deliberations with these tributaries in the formation of thematic research-oriented task forces that address economic revival through agriculture and in optimizing homegrown expertise in the precision diagnosis of cancer have truly expanded your international outreach. I'm confident that your current deliberations with these leading centers of excellence in the US and India, those are the Cornell University and the Indian Institute of Science, will be cemented very soon. We look forward to supporting parallel gains in the fields of data sciences and environmental sciences, to name a few. To the students of these hallowed grounds, even though the new norm requires you to be connected with us today on the virtual mode, please safeguard your heritage and to the utmost and do Mother Lanka proud in all your endeavors. To the multifaceted academics who are so well respected as national, regional, and international experts, thank you for remaining with the University of Colombo and for giving of your best, not only in academic activities, but much more. I wish to acknowledge with sincere gratitude your excellent support systems through FOSS Media, our university's more recent initiatives in energy conservation and enterprise resource planning, to mention a few that we often tend to take you for granted. To our alumni, you are a star-studded galaxy, ranging from heads of state and honorable ministers to key policymakers and planners and groundbreaking scientists. The multitude of alumni groups located in Sri Lanka and overseas have remained stoic in safeguarding the University of Colombo and supporting its students on a continued basis. On behalf of our university, I thank you for your sustained connectivity. All these factors, I have no doubt, contributed to our university remaining #1 in the recent international rankings based on data and visibility. We remain the maypole for an evidence-based approach to national policy development and reformation. So may you grow from strength to strength and be the Lankan nucleus in the cosmos of the world of science. Thank you, and stay safe.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chancellor and Madam Vice Chancellor. We as a faculty deeply appreciate your constant guidance and support. I wish to invite the Dean of the Faculty of Science, Professor Upul Sonnadara, accompanied by Senior Assistant Librarian of the Faculty of Science, Mrs. Sajivani Somaratna, to hand over the token of appreciation to our chief guest today, Professor Chandrika Wijeyaratne, who spearheads the university through these unprecedented times when the Faculty of Science celebrates 100 years of excellence. Sometimes the miracles are just good people with kind hearts. At the University of Colombo, we are blessed with many such individuals. Their remarkable qualities of determination, passion to help, going out of their ways to make things happen have been impressive. Please join with me to give a big round of applause to all these amazing people. Faculty of Science is extremely grateful for your efforts, and please receive these tokens of appreciation. I would now like to invite the chairperson of the Library Committee, Dr. Pradeepika Saputantri, to conduct the session.
Good morning. Today we witnessed the opening of a modern library complex . Today we witnessed the opening of a modern library complex, the Information and Learning Center for the fortunate generations of students and teachers of the University of Colombo. Completing a project of this magnitude is by no means an easy task. This would not have been successful if not for many who contributed in different capacities, among whom the Faculty of Science wishes to acknowledge by presenting tokens of appreciation as a symbolic gesture to show the gratitude to those who have dedicated their time and effort for the successful completion of the Information and Learning Center. To present these tokens, I would like to invite our chief guest, Senior Professor Chandrika Wijeyaratne, the Vice Chancellor of University of Colombo, accompanied by Senior Professor Upul Sonnadara, Dean, Faculty of Science. I wish to humbly request the following individuals to receive these tokens of appreciation. Mr. M.D.R. Gunathilaka, Managing Director, Sunken Construction Private Limited. Mr. A.M. Ratnayaka, Deputy General Manager, Projects, Sunken Construction. Mr. Shantha Wijesekara, ILC Project Manager, Sunken Construction. Dr. Pradeepa Vijayatunga, librarian and the staff of the Library Network, University of Colombo. Mr. K.S. Edward, Registrar, University of Colombo. Mrs. K.S.T.S. Jayasurya, Bursa, and the staff of the Finance Division, University of Colombo. Mr. R. Logendra, Deputy Registrar, and the staff of the Capital Works and Planning Division, University of Colombo. Mr. A.C.M. Azar, Project Manager, Capital Works and Planning Division, University of Colombo. Mr. Vasantha Pigera, Work Superintendent, Capital Works and Planning Division, University of Colombo. Mr. Rahal Aberatna, Works Engineer and the staff of the Maintenance Branch, University of Colombo. Mr. Rusiru Dalpadadu, Assistant Network Manager of the Network Operations Center, University of Colombo. Right. Senior Assistant Registrar, Mrs. Tarushika Patharanage, and the staff of the Dean's Office, Faculty of Science. Mrs. Vajira Hapuhinna Jayaratna, former Deputy Registrar, Faculty of Science. We actually have two tokens for the Ministry of Education and the University Grants Commission. I invite a representative from each. To receive, yes. Yes, there is an endless list of people to appreciate. However, I wish to conclude by inviting 4 very special people to receive the tokens. Professor K.R. Ranjit Mahanama, former Dean, Faculty of Science. Sir, this is for being a pillar of strength throughout this project. Dr. Dilhari Artigala, Madam, you were the chairperson of the Library Committee, Faculty of Science for the past 10 years, from 2009 to 2019, and without your guidance and support, this ILC simply would not have been a reality. Although you are not here in person today, I know how you are willing to be here, and hope you are watching this, and thank you. Next is an amazing person who has become indispensable to our faculty. Dr. Hiran Jayavira. We do not have enough words to thank you for everything that you do for the faculty, so please accept this symbol of our gratitude. There is a person without whose dedication, strength, and courage this remarkable learning facility would not have materialized. Senior Assistant Librarian, Faculty of Science, Mrs. Sajivani Somarathna, the Faculty of Science is indeed fortunate to have you. Please accept this token of appreciation. Thank you, sir and madam. These remarkable individuals, with all their contributions in initiating and completing this impressive information and learning center, have made their mark in the history of University of Colombo to last for at least another century. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. All good things must come to an end. Yet we must always remember every ending is a beginning of something new. To wrap up today's proceedings, to deliver the vote of thanks, I would like to cordially invite Senior Assistant Librarian of the Faculty of Science, Mrs. Sajivani Somarathna.
Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Senior Professor Chandrika Vijayratna, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Professor Emeritus Lakshman Dissanayake, management team of Sanken Construction Private Limited, all the academic, administrative, and other staff members of the faculty of the University of Colombo, and dear students. I stand before you on behalf of the Faculty of Science to express deepest gratitude for being with us here today to share this occasion. This project has become a reality today owing to the constant efforts of a large number of individuals throughout the last 8 years. From the day that the concept was presented to the faculty board in June 2013 to date, many worked beyond their professional capacities and dedicated their time to see this facility being handed over to the university. First of all, let me express my deepest gratitude to the chief guest today, Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Senior Professor Chandrika Vijayratna, for gracing this occasion. Thank you, Madam, for recognizing the importance of a modern library environment and for your continuous encouragement and leadership. My heartiest gratitude goes to the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Professor Emeritus Lakshman Dissanayake, for gracing this occasion as the guest of honor. Thank you, sir, for making this event a memorable one. You provide the leadership and took a personal interest in seeing this facility become a reality. We are extremely grateful to the Ministry of Finance, Sri Lanka, for recognizing the importance of this informational learning center and for approving and providing necessary funds for this project. We are also grateful to the Ministry of Education, Sri Lanka, for administrative support and channeling the funds. Let me express my gratitude to the Managing Director, Mr. Ranjit Gunatilaka, Deputy General Manager, Mr. Ratnayaka, Project Manager, Mr. Shanta Vijaysekara, and the team of Sanken Construction Private Limited for constructing and handing over the Information and Learning Center to the Faculty of Science. Thank you also for accommodating our endless concerns. Let me thank the Dean of the Faculty of Science, Senior Professor Upul Sonnadara, for your invaluable guidance and support to make this project a success. I am extremely grateful to the Senior Professor K.R.R. Mahanama, former Dean of the Faculty of Science, for being the driving force of this massive project. My deepest gratitude goes to Professor Emeritus T.R.R. Ratna, former Dean, who identified the importance of a modern library for the faculty and putting forward the concept of this new building. Also, I express my sincere thanks to Mr. K.S. Edward, Registrar, and Mrs. K.S.T.S. Jayasuriya, Bursar of the University of Colombo, for always providing adequate resources and facilitating each and every step of this building project. I am very much grateful to Dr. Pradeepa Vijayatunga, the librarian of the University of Colombo, and the staff of the library network, and also the former librarian, Mrs. Sumana Jayasuriya, for their guidance and support throughout the project. I am very much grateful to the current and former heads of all the departments of the Faculty of Science for being constant supporters throughout the project. My special thanks go to Dr. Dilhari Artigala for her invaluable guidance, support, and contribution as the former chairperson of the Library Committee of the faculty. Also, I express my sincere thanks to Mrs. Vajra Jayaratna, former Deputy Registrar of the faculty, for her contribution and support to make this project a success. My special thanks to Mr. R. Logendra, Deputy Registrar, and all the current and former staff members in the Capital Works and Planning Division of the University of Colombo for their untiring efforts to make this project a reality. My heartiest gratitude goes to Ms. Daisy A. Maza, who was the real strength behind this massive project as the project manager of the University of Colombo. Thank you, Ms. Daza, for your commitment, contribution, and dedication to make this project a reality. We are deeply grateful to Mr. Rahal Aberatna, Works Engineer, and the staff of the Maintenance Division for the commitment and support throughout this building project. I am very much grateful to Mr. Rusuru Dalpadatu, Assistant Network Manager of the University of Colombo, for your continuous support and commitment. My special thanks goes to Dr. Hasini Pereira, the Faculty Coordinator of the AHEAD project, and all the activity coordinators of their invaluable support for updating library facilities. I am extremely grateful to the faculty members of the ILC committee, Senior Professor Dhammika Disanayaka, Professor Inoka Pereira, and Dr. Hiran Jayavira for your commitment and priceless support in different ways during the whole project. Also, my heartiest gratitude goes to Dr. Pradipika Saputantri, the chairperson, and all the members of the Library Committee of the Faculty of Science for being with me as a constant supporters. My sincere thanks to Dr. Tilni Pereira for her excellent comparing of today's program. Also, my appreciation goes to Mrs. Tarushika Patranage, Senior Assistant Registrar of the Faculty of Science, and the staff of the Dean's Office for coordinating the project to this successful completion. I am really grateful to FOSS Media, who worked tirelessly to make this event a memorable one. To all the students, I say a special thank you for your participation and for bearing all the difficulties during the construction period of the building. Finally, let me say a big thank you to all the members of the organizing committee of this ILC opening ceremony, the Centenary Celebrations Committee of the Faculty of Science, as well as the staff of the Science Library, who worked tirelessly to organize this event and who helped in many ways to make this event a success. This building is not just a construction, but a facility to foster future scientists in conducive learning environment. We all can proudly celebrate this achievement as we step into the next century of discovery, innovation, and knowledge through science education. Thank you.
That marks the end of the day's proceedings. Please join with us for refreshments which are arranged in the 4th floor. Thank you.